What if I told you that Lewis Hamilton's crash at the Dutch Grand Prix wasn't just about rain or driver error, but the spark that has shaken Ferrari to its core? After the wreck, the 7-time world champion didn't hold back. He exposed brutal truths about the SF25, revealing flaws that could derail Ferrari's championship before it even begins. And now, heading into the Monza Grand Prix, Hamilton's shocking revelation has left fans and experts questioning everything. Is Ferrari's dream partnership already crumbling? Or is this the start of Hamilton's most dramatic comeback yet? The Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort was supposed to be routine, another chance for Hamilton to settle into the Ferrari SF25, to build confidence, and maybe to finally prove that the partnership between legend and legacy was destined for greatness. But Friday immediately told a different story. In FP1, the car snapped without warning. There was no gradual slide, no tiny twitch of oversteer, just sudden, violent chaos. Even a driver who has mastered some of the most unpredictable cars in Formula One looked genuinely stunned. And in FP2, it happened again. Same car, same corner, same confusion. Whispers began to ripple through the paddock. Was Ferrari's latest upgrade package a disaster? Was this a case of the machine rejecting its master? But then Saturday gave everyone hope. Hamilton rediscovered rhythm, wrestling the car into P7 during qualifying. After Friday's nightmare, it felt like a small miracle. For the first time in weeks, the Ferrari garage breathed optimism. Even Hamilton's demeanor shifted, calmer, more patient, talking about the long game. Maybe, just maybe, this was the turning point. Sunday morning brought the first shadow. An investigation, minor, technical, for ignoring yellow flags on pit entry. Barely a footnote in the grand scheme of things. Still, in Formula One, even the smallest distractions can snowball into catastrophe. When the lights went out, Hamilton launched well, tucked behind George Russell, managing the damp but drivable conditions. Rain began to fall lightly, just enough to unsettle nerves without forcing full wet tires. Ferrari saw their chance. Box, came the call. Hamilton, precise as ever, obeyed instantly. Then came turn 3, the iconic Zandvoort banked corner. A treacherous trap when damp, just a fraction too wide, chasing that elusive tenth of a second to make the strategy perfect. And the rear snapped, grip vanished, the barrier rushed forward. Impact, silence, not just on Hamilton's radio but in the Ferrari garage. A strategy undone, a weekend destroyed. All the fragile momentum Ferrari had built crumbled into dust in a single corner. Hamilton's voice came through the radio, heavy with realization. He apologized immediately, knowing exactly what had been lost. Not just a race, not just points, but a fragile belief that this partnership was beginning to work. Most drivers in this situation would have reached for the usual PR phrases. Just unlucky. The conditions caught me out. We'll regroup and move forward. But not Lewis Hamilton, not this time. Instead, he stripped the facade bare. No excuses, no polite deflections, just raw honesty. He described the SF25 as unpredictable and unstable, a car that doesn't respond to his inputs in a way that inspires trust. Even hours in the simulator hadn't solved the fundamental issue. The rear instability makes it impossible to build rhythm. Push harder, and the car snaps. Back off, and it still catches him out. This wasn't just a setup problem. This was a deeper philosophical mismatch. The Ferrari, designed around Charles Leclerc's style, simply couldn't bend to Hamilton's needs. The rear suspension and brake-by-wire system worked for one driver, but not for the 7-time champion sitting alongside him. And for Hamilton, this wasn't just technical, it was emotional. He admitted he came to Ferrari to rediscover his joy, to reconnect with the passion that made him fall in love with racing. But when the very car you drive feels like it's fighting you, that spark is almost impossible to find. For Ferrari, his honesty was both devastating and illuminating. They had signed Hamilton not just for his speed, but for his leadership, his feedback, his championship-winning experience. His arrival was meant to lift Ferrari back to glory. Instead, he was holding up a mirror, and the reflection wasn't pretty. But the real storm hadn't even hit yet. Before Monza, the FIA handed down its verdict on that earlier yellow flag investigation, and it cut deeper than carbon into steel, a 5-place grid penalty. Not for the crash, not for reckless driving, but for failing to slow sufficiently under double yellow flags on a reconnaissance lap. A lap where cars aren't even racing, just weaving for temperature. Telemetry told a different story. Hamilton lifted, slowed by 20 kilometers per hour, braked 7.0 meters earlier than normal, and cut his power by 20%. To him and to Ferrari, that was enough. But the stewards disagreed. Their words were blunt. We do not consider a 20 kilometers per hour reduction to be significant. The punishment, a 5-place drop for Monza, plus 2 penalty points on his super license, his first in more than a year. For Hamilton, the timing was brutal. His first Italian Grand Prix in scarlet was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, he would start no higher than 6th. The dream of a fairy tale debut at Ferrari's home race collapsed before a single lap was run. Worse still, the inconsistency was glaring. Max Verstappen and Lando Norris had similar infringements. That same weekend, no penalties, no points. Charles Leclerc forced George Russell off track, damaging the Mercedes and costing him nearly a second per lap, no penalty. Yet Hamilton was punished. Hard. Was it strict policing, or a message that even legends would be held to the harshest standard? That Hamilton, despite his 7 titles, would not be spared the hammer. Inside Ferrari, though, there was no finger pointing, no public blame. Team boss Fred Vasseur defended his driver, reminding the media that the track was damp, the drizzle unpredictable, and that Hamilton had been on pace all weekend. He even insisted there were a lot of positives, but behind the optimism lurked undeniable truths. The crash, the penalty, the pressure, the philosophical mismatch between Hamilton and the SF5. Together, they painted a picture that no one in Maranello wanted to admit. This car was not a championship contender, and worse, it might never be. Hamilton's comments were more than criticism. They were a philosophical alarm bell, a reminder that Ferrari, for all its history, still clings to old habits, cycles of hope, disappointment, and missed opportunity. The crash at turn 3 wasn't just a driver losing control. It was symbolic, a world-class champion behind the wheel of a machine that refuses to meet him halfway. And so everything pointed to Monza, the temple of speed, Ferrari's sacred home. A sea of scarlet, the chants of the Tifosi echoing like thunder. This was supposed to be Hamilton's coronation in red. Instead, he walked into a crucible, a 5-place grid drop, a shaken confidence, a car that refuses to obey, and a team facing an identity crisis. Because this isn't just about whether Hamilton can deliver something extraordinary at Monza. It's about whether Ferrari is ready to face the truth. Are they building a team that embraces change or one that resists it? Are they adapting to modern Formula One or dragging their legacy behind them like dead weight? When Ferrari signed Hamilton, they didn't just sign a driver, they signed a culture builder, a man who knows how to shape winning environments. Right now, Ferrari isn't holding up its end of the bargain. Pressure can crush, or it can create diamonds. The only question is, which one will Hamilton become in scarlet? Hamilton himself admitted, "There's a huge amount of pressure on us as a team, and more so on me because I haven't had a good season." And he's right. The weight isn't just on Ferrari, it's on his shoulders, too. Every race weekend now feels like a referendum on his decision to leave Mercedes. Every comment is dissected, every mistake magnified. But here's the truth. Legends in Formula One aren't defined by the easy weekends. They're defined by the storms, by the moments when critics circle, when doubt suffocates, when the car fights you at every corner, and yet you keep fighting back. That's the test Hamilton faces now. That's the crucible of Monza. And that's where we leave it. Lewis Hamilton's crash, his brutal honesty, and a penalty that has left Ferrari shaken ahead of Monza. But this story is far from over. Do you think this is the fall of a legend, or the start of an epic comeback? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, share this video with fellow F1 fans, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful racing stories. Thanks for watching.